Good morning, good morning, good morning, Facebookers. It's your girl, Neo Soul recording artist Lahla-Hadiya, and I am back again for another segment of Morning Tea with Mommy. Again, for those who, hey, early risers, I see you guys on here. Good morning. It's Thursday. For those of you who will be chiming in or chiming in while I'm speaking, this is where I get to talk candidly with my 70-year-old mom about so many different topics, ranging from relationships, religion, to parenting and politics. So come on in. Today's topic is it's not as deep as, well, I take that back. Today's topic, good morning, Jamila. Today's topic is about do-overs. I'll let you be the judgment of that. Do-overs. And I'm going to bring my mom on, and then I'll give today's topic. Hey, you.
Hey, girl.
I can't win. Every day I try. You got me showed up every day. It's freezing in my house. I got my jean jacket on. I can't win with you. I'm not
It's
even going
warm
to
in
try.
here. It's nice and
Not even
toasty.
going to try. So today's topic, guys. Hey Jamila, and how's my baby sister Jamila? My baby sister Jamila's mom is on here. My play sister from Carolina, Carolina Church. I miss her. How's she doing? So the
I
topic today is do-over. If you had a do-over button, um, uh, what is one event in your life that you would want a second chance at? So this is a little more interactive than all the other topics where we get to talk first and then y'all chime in, give your opinion. I want to know what it is what's one event that you would love to have a second chance in if you had a do-over button. So I can't hear you, Mom. What happened to you?
I was.
There you go. Oh, you look. It took your voice away.
It took my voice away. You got me on that one.
I'll let you start. Because I got a whole bunch of stuff.
Wow.
Jamila said, "God Almighty."
You know, do over. Gee whiz.
A do-over.
Okay.
If you
Okay.
had
Well,
this your do-over button, mommy.
the vein.
If you could press this button.
Okay. There you go. Okay. Here we go.
Jamila said,
You know,
I need a second chance at education. Elaborate. What do you mean? You would change what you were moving after as far as education, or you would make better grades. You would listen to the teacher. Like, give me some.
you would go to class.
Yeah, like elaborate.
Wow.
He said y'all are twinning today. Are we? I don't know, man. She got me beat. I every day I try to match this woman's gangster and glamour, and it's not working.
Hey, wait a minute. We're talking about second chances here.
Look, during the countdown, I was running to get earrings because I was empty.
There isn't really everything that I've been through, and I've been through some really, really Israel experiences, but I don't know that I would do them do them over any different because through those adversities, I really, really have grown. I really have used those experiences to impact the rest of my life. Um, Probably being vainful, I would say I go back to some of the people that I may have
Oh gosh, cut off.
may have known.
Then where would I be? Like, come on.
No, 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 not that part of it. Some of the people say in high school, um, I would probably, wow, I don't know that I would even change that because it was really, I really am seriously, really real for really real. Even those
He
things
trying
that
to
were
convince herself.
considered not so good, I believe that because of them, I matured into a better person. Um, and so I would push the button only to um, pause it and say insert some things, like in the some movies, where they stop it, they freeze it, and they give like a little inside story or whatever. I'd probably do that versus changing anything really.
Okay. So Jamila says, as far as her education, she dropped out to be a mother and she would have continued. She tried to finish online, but she would have continued her studies at Hampton and walk away with a degree and better employment opportunities. I feel you. I feel you. So I guess my question is to that to the second part of the question. If you had a do over, um, and so being where you are now based on the decision that you made then, whatever the event is, um, are you happy or do you have peace with where you are based on the decisions that you've chose? And so while you guys are typing, I'm gonna say, if I had a do over button, instead of going to um, instead of going to college for elementary education, I would have went into law. I wouldn't have gone to a predominantly white college. I would have gone to an HBCU just for the first 2 years. Only 2 years. That's all I give you because I'd have to get back on track, and not be stuck into the parties and the hype of being at a HBCU because they party too much just celebrating that they HBCU. Um, but I would have done that. I would have went into law. Um, when I was in middle school and high school, that was one of the things that my teachers thought because we had a debate team and we did mock trials and I was on it, and so everybody thought that that's where I was going. That was the move I was going to make. Um, at the time, I was being transparent. I really didn't know really what I wanted to do. I knew I was going to college. Um, and so all my life growing up, my mom was a teacher. So I was like, I was just like my mommy. So I went to school for education instead. Um, but yeah, if I had to do over, I would have been a lawyer. Um, how it would have changed, that's another question. How would it have changed who I am today? Um, honestly, I probably would have been arrogant because the with the knowledge that I would have obtained, with the ability that I have to argue a point, it probably would have changed my personality slightly. Scary thought because I wouldn't have wanted to change, but I think that ultimately being in that setting and then having the ability to go to an HBCU, and just have that type of camaraderie for me, I believe that my attitude would have slightly changed. I would have had a slightly arrogant tone when talking because I probably would have known I was the chick, like as far as what I knew, because I would have went full speed ahead and learned everything, and it would have been nothing. Like I'd have been like fiending for somebody to get in a debate with me on the sidelines, just so I could just chew them up. Like I think things would have been different, and I'm happy. Um, I'm content where I am now, as far as um, you know what I'm doing and what I am now. Like I wouldn't have seen myself go into accounting because I hated it then, and I even changed my major from mathematics education um, to elementary ed because I got to accounting and was like, whoa. So I definitely wouldn't have seen myself in accounting today. I wouldn't have seen myself in the police department, you know. But yeah, that's what happened. Um, let me see. Let me get
You
to the. Let me back up a little bit because I was running my mouth. Okay. Vanita said, I agree with mom. I was asked the same thing the other day, and I said I wouldn't change anything because whatever I went through was God's plan for me, even if I didn't know it at the time. True. Um, hey, Mary. Mary is my twin in another life because like we actually have the same amount of kids. Her family is so beautiful. They're amazing. Her and her husband, they do an amazing job with their family. She said, finish my master's. I was two classes away from the degree, but never completed it. She remembers you remember the mock trials? Yo, I was in it. I was like, yo, and we had like scenarios where we had people on trial for murder, and I'm like getting them off. It was crazy. Um, Jamila says, I'm happy and peaceful. I just know now what I didn't then. I would have finished my education to make better money and be a better role model for my baby. Um,
know, and
hey
Jamila,
Tavera, what's going on?
it's not too late, Jamila. You're
Not
still
at all. And now that I know that, you know what? My text messages to you are going to be a little more signatored, you know? Um, hey Toriano, what's going on? What's your do over? We got a male perspective. What is your do over? He said, I would do some things I held back from. Um, that means you don't want us to know. That means it's
but
stuff that you
but
don't want us
but
to
for
know.
real, real talk says, you guys, you still you can do those things. You may kind of modify them a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and they may be a little skewed when it comes to how you do them,
Yeah.
but you can still do them. Like going to school, like those careers that once upon a time dreamed of. Just do it.
I
Um,
definitely feel like um, I like where I ended up was God led. I really do feel like because there was a point in my life, like early on, being a pastor's daughter, even before leaving high school, it's so amazing to watch my children because I was that hungry. I was that hungry for the word of God and wanting to please Him and wanting to do what He wanted me to do and wanting Him to guide me, strategically guide me with my path in life. And so I was always in my word. I was asking my dad questions. Like my dad was my pastor. You know, he was not just the pastor of the church, he was my personal pastor. And I would ask him different questions and stuff like that. So there were certain things that happened, certain events that happened, even down to my freshman year in college, experiencing certain things in life, and then coming out of college and losing my dad. Well, I won't say losing because I know exactly where he is. Like my dad transitioning, it took a lot out of me. It was like a punch to the soul, and I took a turn even though the turn that I took um, was not ideal, God still used it because I left the church. Like I left church. Like when I tell you, being a pastor's daughter in the DMV area, going to the different churches, there was not one church I was confident in attending because I knew the behind the scenes. So I was like, I'm good. Um, and so I literally was in a place of being stuck. And even at that point, I almost decided to say, you know what, I'm going to go into law just, to get my aggression out. It was weird because that was my motivation for it. But even yet and still, that wasn't something that God wanted me to do. And the crazy thing is, where I was entering into before my dad's passing was something that wasn't ideal. And it was like a sucker punch to my mom because I went into the police department. She was like, what? Like, you going to be a cop? And so I became a police officer, which took everybody by storm. My dad knew about it, and I had found out I was accepted before he had passed, and then I started going into the academy after his passing, and so he was rooting for me. My mom was like, okay, it's other things out there. Look at her face. She's still like, I can't believe that she was a police officer. But it molded me into what I am today. And I think that every aspect of who I am, every characteristic that I had was groomed in a different way, and it got me who I am today, which is necessary. I'd say because of the people that I encountered thereafter. The demeanor that I have, the heart that I have, uh, just my spiritual maturity was necessary for the people that I would encounter after that. And so I'm good with that. I'm happy with it. You look good as a cop. My husband is a mess. Good morning, husband. Let me see. Toriano, he said he would have gotten his CDL. And so these things, so let me tell you guys, those people who are in my circle, who are on here, this was the motivation behind this, because like we sometimes, well, all the time, like the Bible says, we are our brother's keeper. Like, these are things that, hey, like, look, when we talked about yesterday about coming out of this pandemic, because God will bring us out, not doing business as usual. Like, these are things that are still reachable and obtainable. They are still possible. So when you get those little text messages, those little Facebook messages, be like, hey, yo, did you apply? Like, look, this is what I found. Go check it out. Like, don't get mad at me, because I'm all about pushing my friends to be better, because I would want you to push me to be that. Tavera says, stop running from my calling sooner. Stop thinking God did not want me when he was calling me all the time. Yeah, Tavera. So, Tavera, guys, meet Tavera. Meet Tavera. This woman right here, I remember when I first met her. Um, the Spirit of God was always surrounding her when I saw her. And so to see her in the element that she's in now, like, she's teaching my babies at our church, in the church school. Like, she's a minister now. And it was something that, I don't know. She said she was running from it. Like, let me tell you, you weren't running from it, because he was right. He was hovering over you the whole time. You just couldn't see it, but people on the outside saw it. Like, it was a given that that's where you were going, and it's so amazing to see it unfold. My prayer in that is that God keeps you, like, as he hovers, he bends those edges a little bit to keep you protected, because you are definitely necessary in the body. Like, definitely. I need you guys to follow her. Follow her, because she don't even know why I'm going to tell y'all to follow her. I want y'all to follow her because God has something greater for her to do, and you guys have to be connected now. Like, it's going to be beyond what is happening in the what we would consider smaller scale. Like, we attend New Bethel Baptist Church. Plug New Bethel Baptist Church. Pastor Dexter the nut all. She I see her doing something much greater than just being in that room. So I need y'all to stay connected to her now, because it's gonna be necessary for her people to be connected. Some people that are going to be blessed and be able to bless others just for the connections. I need y'all to do that. Jamila, now that the hospitality field has my heart, that's the direction I'm heading in. I'm going to be credentialed. What? Credentialed. I'm sorry, I had a little blind moment. And make big moves as soon as Rona kicks rocks. Like, I'm with you, and we're gonna make sure that happen, yo. Like, I'm excited. I'm so, like, Jamila, I'm so excited for you. I'm so proud of you. Like, just to know you and to see where you've come from since I met you. I think I met you a little after we came to New Bethel. And, like, yeah, I'm happy to call you my sis. Everybody don't get that title. I see people throwing it out I call everybody a queen, but everybody's not my sister, and I'm glad to have you as that. Toriano, follow my faith more, and it's not too late. It's not too late, man. It's not too late. We were just my children and my husband and I had Bible. We have Bible study every day, and yesterday, um, my youngest son led Bible discussion, and he showed us a movie clip from War Room, and we were speaking out of the scriptures, Hebrews 10th chapter 19 through 23rd verse, right? And one of the questions that he had asked us was, how does God test your individual faith daily? And why it's necessary for your faith to be tested. And so we kind of moved into a discussion of like a consistent testing of your faith because it's necessary for you to exercise it. And then there are times where you test it out. So we spoke about we equated it to exercising, like getting stronger. So I gave a picture of all of my kids and my husband and I getting down to do 250 push-ups. And we spoke about how it's possible that my youngest son could have got down there and knocked out 250 without stopping, without wavering. My husband probably stopped at 100 and was like, yo, all right, let me count to five and then get back at it. And then I probably was like at full, like, okay, hold on, give me like 10 minutes. And then try to knock out another three. So and then like one of my Layla, who's like Angela Bassett, seeing that it was difficult for her eight-year old autistic sister to do the push-ups, had to put her on her back so she could complete it, and was able to knock out her 200 and so push-ups with her sister on her back. Like every day,
That's my
your
girl.
faith is exercised. And you have to be diligent, just like somebody who wants to be healthy, just like somebody who wants to be stronger. You have to be diligent in living healthy, doing things to create a healthy environment, so that you can have a better life as far as your immune system, as far as your strength, and it's no different than faith. Um, you can have faith as small as a mustard seed, guys. Say that's all it takes. At the same time, as you get in deeper relationship with Christ, you know that it's the exercising of your faith that makes you stronger in it. So you have to pour into it. You have to read your words. You have to rub shoulders and be around people who are of like spirits and minds, so that you can get more knowledge, get more wisdom, so that when things come your way, your reaction to it is based on your exercised faith. And so with your faith, like, yo, follow it more, do it now. Like, you don't need a do over button for that. You don't. Let's just continue and get it done. Um, you could still, my husband, I would never, he said, I would never start over. I wouldn't have learned the lessons or probably be the man I am today. No regrets. Okay, like, and that's real too. That's real. Because still, I think, and I let my mom chime in. I think that I'm not unhappy with how I turned out. There are some things that I probably would um, add on at this point, and kind of uh, pull out of me a little more. But I'm happy. Like I wouldn't have had, like, I have amazing kids. I have amazing children, and me changing 1 ounce of my life probably would mean that God would still probably find ways for them to get here, but it probably would be different. My mindset may have been different, which wouldn't have been conducive to them being raised the way they are. I don't know, but I like where I'm at. They get on my nerves
Speaking
sometimes,
of
like,
amazing children, I
it's a
have
lot of them,
amazing
but
children. I'm sitting here reminiscing, and as Lala is speaking, and we know that one of her areas that she definitely probably would have gone into and still is as we speak. um, is
Talking.
talking.
I
Ah,
get it from my mama. So,
oh,
y'all wouldn't know it though.
no one would ever believe. But I do have two amazing young people um, who once upon a time were children. They've gone through the struggle with me. And I would say I would stretch them even more so. I know they're like, what? Is that possible? But I would stretch them even more so. And I guess in many ways, that's why I'm making up for it with my grandchildren by stretching them. They wonder why grandma, Grammy is so very often talking. I'm plugging different parts of my past into them. There's so many. I have done so many things that have really gotten me where I am today, much of which I will be in my book. Don't throw anything, La.
Hey,
I've
hey.
been writing a book for a
Except
while.
paper and a
My
pen.
story, my story is rich. My story is rich. Um, and as far as pushing a button, I would probably, like I said earlier, probably push it to insert some things, some explanation, some this, some that. Um, but I am happy, glad with my life and where God has led me and where
We
He
need
is
that book.
leading me. And it is really a joy. They wonder sometimes when I just take off running in terms of sharing different things, my experiences as missionary, traveling the world, going to Africa, Mexico, different places as a missionary. One thing I don't advertise is my ministerial duties and aspirations. I'm not one for titles, so I just do what God says for me to do. And I believe a person's uh, walk should supersede their talk in terms of what they're doing. And this side of my life, which you'll see very often in my book.
We need
Um,
that book. Let me tell
yes,
you. Let me tell you guys. Look, when she finished
I'm gonna
talking, I'm
tell
gonna tell you why we need that book.
but let me tell you why you haven't gotten it, because every time I think that I'm settled on different chapters, there's so much more to tell, so much more. And the tea is strong. The tea in that book will be strong. So you can look for it. You can look for it.
Tavera
Um,
said yes. Mark said yesterday his praise report was time with his grandmother. And she was like,
yes.
time with your grandmother always makes a difference, even
Oh
to
my
her as
God.
well.
I am
Millie said
so
that's how we build a legacy by pouring into our children and others. I'm thankful for my parents and grandparents. Let me tell you, even
absolutely.
even amid this COVID-19 situation, my children have to. It is necessary for them to have grandmother time. Real quick, I promise. Real quick, some years ago, I think when LaJanae was a baby, she was an infant because she's 8 now. I had opted out of sending my children to any kind of camp, and my mother had opted out of doing summer school for PG County. She was still in the PG County school system at the time, and she opted out of it to start grandmother summer camp. It was so necessary for me to create the space and opportunity for my children to sit up under my mother. Like when I tell you, it's not just a brag. Like this is real. Like I really feel like abundantly blessed because I really felt like I have like God just took an angel and just let her like roam the earth, and be my mom because the things that she's taught me, the things that she's been through, the things that she's endured, are amazing. And for you guys to see what you see when you see her, and everybody's like, Mama Lou, I love Mama Lou. Like you have no idea, and I really feel like um, there's another reason why the book hasn't come out yet. Um, and I don't even think my mom understands that in all her wisdom and glory. But I don't want to speak it. I just know it. And I sense it. But I'll tell you why the book is necessary, because people who know me, oh no, you guys may think I'm a little okay or whatever. And you see how my children are becoming, the husband that I have, the relationship with my brother and my mom. But you would never have fathomed the thought that we my mom experienced domestic violence. Um, I experienced not having my dad in my household at one point. And I met my dad at a later time. And, my dad was a pastor, whatever, but there was a point where my dad was not there. Um, and it gets deeper, not just about a man not wanting to take care of his child, because that wasn't the case. Um, but I experienced that. So I experienced coming from a single home at one point. I experienced abuse. Um, so did my brother. We experienced homelessness. We were homeless for a year. We lived in a car for a year. This is why I need the book to come out, because when I hear people and I see people, and I'm trying to say this without tearing up, when I hear people and I see people getting defeated, um, and with all that, like I used to come to school, my mom used to sew all my clothes. I remember my clothes being stolen, our things being stolen out of our house, and all of my clothes were coming to elementary school on other kids. And I knew they were mine because my mom sold, and they were significant. They were like clothes that you don't see in the store. And when asked, they were telling me that their parents had bought it at a yard sale. So like to see how people react to me now, the person that I am, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, like you have so much, but I just love you, or your kids are amazing, or whatever, and like the Castros are just something. You have no idea the road that has been traveled, and the reason why I feel like certain things haven't come out yet in a full on full scale, like on in a book, yet is because God always orchestrates when it's time and necessary to give your testimony, because it has to hit at the right time. And so when you follow His lead, then He'll let you know when. Those excerpts, though, like keep connected, because it's so necessary to get us to that next level of why I can sit here with confidence and say, yo, yeah, let's go back and do it. Let's go back and get this. Or, having a child and saying that you had to step away from education to raise that child. Like, we, it was a point where my mom was teaching, she was working, um, but we were homeless, and we would have the clothes that could fit in the trunk of, what was it, a white, the
A
little
yellow
white,
suitcase, a little
but
yellow
the Volvo, it was
suitcase.
like, it wasn't even a big car, it was like a little compact car. We would change our clothes at Burger King or like the fast food, make soup with the ketchup, like we know all about that. And to see how people respond to my mom now, and everybody's like on a I won't say vain sense, but just an outward sense. They're like, yo, she's gorgeous. My mom, look at her. Like, she's 70 years old. Nobody would ever have suspected that she went through a tumultuous, um, battered and abused experience, to the point where you probably wouldn't even have recognized her face. And to see her now, like, the story is necessary. The book is necessary, and so I'm gonna keep pushing her, and God gonna keep her a little longer because this book gotta come out. If
Yes,
I gotta
yes.
bring the paper over there for her, you know, and the pen, it don't,
It's interesting that the major crises that we're experiencing now, it brings to mind so many things. How adversities, out of adversities come uh, a lot of things positive. And I'm almost on pins and needles because I just know that God, when He brings us out of this, those of us who are steadfast and movable and abounding in His word and abounding in what God has already done. So we know He can do it. So I'm just looking forward to what's to come. I really am. Whether I'm here to see it or my grandchildren, my children, I'm just happy, glad. I'm just on pins and needles looking forward to the greatness that's going to come out of this. And as La has mentioned, gave part of a spoiler.
It's not a spoiler. That make you want to read it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm just really excited. And
Yo,
people are always
Toriana said he
asking.
got plenty of paper at the office. Like, yo, anybody look, I think that's the problem. She don't have paper. Like,
No, no,
if
no, 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 no.
everybody would
I don't
just sit,
think
forget toilet paper, send a pack of paper to
so.
my mama
Right,
house.
exactly. But I'm really excited about this because it's given me an opportunity to do some of the things. Although since I've been retired, I've been able to do many of the things that I've always wanted to do, except travel. I've traveled, as I said, as a missionary to Africa. I have a school. I'm liaison to a school in Africa, Kenya, and I maintain contact with those people. I work with the World Mission, mostly male ministers, a few females, but that's another of my platforms, and that is to support women rights, and being on a staff of predominantly male ministers. Um, it's quite an experience, but during this downtime that we're experiencing, I'm able to do and get my hands in a lot of things that I'm really proud of, and I'm looking forward to the outcomes. Um, so pushing the button for me is more so pushing it only to pause to insert some things, some very important parts of my life. Um, that many of you are going through, will go through. I'm here to tell you, I'm a witness. This too will soon pass. This too will soon pass. And my question is, what will you be doing? What will you do once it's passed? Don't let this period of crises hold you in one place. We should be constantly working on those things
That's the hook right there.
that that's it. That's it.
Yo, you
Um,
said it and Millie typed it. Millie said, yes, God is resetting and birthing so many blessings in all of us this year. That's
yes,
it.
yes,
That's it right
yes,
there. Like that's
that's
the
it.
this your do over button. This your do over button. And so,
Absolutely.
when we come out of this, we had to go through it. So we will go through it and fortunately, and unfortunately, lives have been lost. And I say fortunately because um, there's a reason for everything. It may hurt on the humanistic side, but there's a reason for everything. And there's no amount of tissue, no amount of hugs that would ever um, pacify or get someone over grief. Um, at the same time, exercising that faith, and knowing that God has greater and God's plan is in full effect, and everything that happens cannot happen without His say so. So if He's in it, understanding and believing that there's a greater cause, and so even if that being an example to someone else, um, it's necessary. It's necessary, and we look at it differently because we don't see from the lens of God. So we look at things differently because we're attached to things. For a long time, I grieved the fact that my dad transitioned on, and as I grew in my faith, it was necessary. It was necessary because if my dad had still been here, I would have stayed up under him. And there were so many other places that the seeds of our church needed to be planted so that other people could see the blossoming, other people could catch the growth. And that wouldn't have been able to be done if we were still at that church. And the name of our church was True Temple Missionary Baptist. And my dad's last sermon, actually, the Sunday before the Monday when he had his last stroke, was about when bad things happen. And he actually talked about, what would we do if there were no more preachers. So many people get caught up in that man, that woman of God, instead of the word that is coming out of their mouth, that's connected to God. And so, with my dad being transitioned, I moved into a place where now I'm living everything he taught me, everything he instilled in me. Now it's game time, and now I moved to another place, and I wouldn't have met my husband, and so everything is orchestrated by God. And even if we, do our own little tidbit and try to do our own thing, God still has a way of getting the glory and bringing things back to where He needs it to be, because it's all about Him in the end. So this do over button, that do over button.
Yeah, and I have a thought as you were talking. Something just circled my head, and I want to leave this thought with us. Um, in order to get to it, we must go through it so we can do it.
Hey,
And the question is, what is your it? What is your it? After all this is said and done, what is your it?
hey.
Those are my thoughts. I'm sticking to it, and I'm dropping the
She
mic.
writing, y'all. Keep the paper flowing. She writing, y'all. We might get that book this year.
You may get it sooner than you think. It's
It's
coming.
definitely been a pleasure, yo. We always seem to go a little bit over our time, but it is necessary. I believe that all of us in some way are called to do the work of God and witness and minister in our own way. And so I don't regret sometimes the spillage that we get when we try to stop at 8, because it's necessary. We all have a ministry in us, and I thank God for that. And I hope that somebody amongst that, when we're in these sessions and these discussions with our morning tea with Mama Lou, that is helpful and beneficial and a push and an urge for you to be better at whatever it is, for you to dig deeper into whatever it is that's necessary for you to continue your process of becoming and allowing God to make your name great. So I love you. My mama
Love
love
you
you.
guys.
And know that
Love
God loves you too. I appreciate you guys chiming in and sticking your heads in for
you.
another
Thank you.
segment
Thank you.
of Morning Tea with my kids told me this. Morning Tea with Mommy. It's awesome. It's always amazing to see my beautiful mother. Every day I try to match her queenism. I'm trying. I'm trying. Sometimes it just be I be tired. But I thank God. Tavera, it's been a blessing to have you on here. She said this
Love
has been a
you.
blessing,
Love you,
exactly what I
Tavera.
needed to hear. Thanks for pouring into all of us. Amen. Amen. That's what it's about. We need this. Ain't nobody tripping off the time. So look, like I be trying to jump in, so I'm jumping off here to jump into my pastor's live. Because like I do believe in a man of God pouring into me so that I can continue to pour into others. So I try to respect the time frame. Sometimes it be spilling over, but I be feeling God urging us to like keep it moving until He brings it to a close. And you can kind of see it. It's crazy. I tell people because a lot of people reach out to me on the sidelines and ask certain things even before this whole segment was birthed. And I'll tell them, when you want me to speak, I want to pray and let God speak through me. And when I don't feel Him speaking through me anymore, I'm going to shut up. And sometimes it happens abruptly. I could be in the middle of a sentence and stop talking. And I'm like, I'm sorry, that I'm done though. Because I respect the spirit. And when He's done talking through me, I need to be quiet so that Lala don't come out. Um, but anyway, again, it's been a pleasure. It's been real. We got one more day in the week, guys. It's almost May. It's almost May. It's
Where's
almost
it
May.
gone?
Yo, it's
Yeah.
almost May. Like April came and went. and and it's been an experience. It's been a healthy ride. Um, even with all the trial and tribulation. So get from it what you need to so we can keep pushing and be better. Like all the people that have been connected, especially today, like take this and plant seeds. plant seeds. We're all in our different
Yes.
perspective places. Plant seeds,
Absolutely.
and that's what it's about. That's how the word, and the word is here. This is church. This is church right here. For all those who don't or didn't attend a physical church before this whole situation happened, like, this is church. This I get to I get to be the church for real, for real. We all get to be the church for real. And nobody has that excuse of, pass her in the church building. Like, this right here, this is church. And let's continue to make this happen so that we can all be better. And we can all, make it one day, and my spirit be with your spirit as we, live with the Most High. That's how it goes. So, again, thank you for joining us. We will see you tomorrow for the last day of this week in another segment of Morning Tea with Mommy. Check out my page around 10:30 ish for the topic for tomorrow. And it's been real. I love you, Mommy. I'll talk to you
I
later. Love
love
you
you, lady.
guys. It's your
Love
girl, Neo
everybody.
Soul recording artist Lahla-Hadiya. Real quick, make sure you cop the album Lay TC. If you ask me, that's my baby girl. Yes, I'm giving that plug. She's an amazing artist. You gotta go check her out. She's in Amazon. She's in iTunes. Again, I'll put the link in this segment so you guys can check her out. Holla at your girl, and I'm out.